there and welcome to TV3 Nightline. I'm Anisha dan Najib.
And I'm Anwar Azmah binti Ismail.
Our top stories.
LGBT supporters march for rights in the capital. Gender discrimination in job advertising in China.
Thanks for joining us. We begin this night with first news, which is LGBT issues. The LGBT community refers to a broad coalition of groups that are diverse with respect to gender, sexual orientation, race or ethnicity, and socioeconomic status.
The committee believes it is essential to emphasize these differences at the outset of this report because in some contemporary scientific discourse and in the popular media, these groups are often treated as a single population under umbrella terms such as LGBT. At the same time, these groups have many experiences in common, key among them being the experience of stigmatization.
From the New Straits Times on 23 July 2018 at Kuala Lumpur, Minister says that LGBT rights protected but must abide by Malaysian laws. The minority community fundamental human rights will be still protected in line with the federal constitution as well as local culture and Islam as the official religion. Datuk Dr. Mujahid Yusof Rawah, who is the Minister in charge of Islamic Affairs, says that regardless of how one feels about the LGBT lifestyle, the community must not be discriminated against, such as in the workplace.
He said any discrimination against the LGBT community at the workplace will only push them into sex industry, adding that the government is committed to helping them escape the illicit trade. In response to additional question from Ahmad Nazlan over allegation that there are some among the LGBT community using social media to propagate the lifestyle to Malaysians, Mujahid said that there are already existing laws to tackle this matter if it is used for immoral purpose.
He said that the government is also in constant engagement with other stakeholders via seminar among others to help tackle the issue. Previously, Mujahid had said that as a Malaysian citizen, Newman cannot be discriminated against by virtue of his sexual orientation. The minister, however, made it clear that he and the government are consistent in their stance against the propagation of LGBT culture. Next, recently Malaysia was tackled by LGBT-supported March for Rights in the capital today. The rally held in the capital by several non-governmental organizations in conjunction with International Women's Day was marked by the presence of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender LGBT supporters.
It is understood that as many 1,000 participants in the early march from Soko to Jasmine Mosque to take images and placards. They also chanted slogans to abolish child marriage, women's life, and do not disturb LGBT. Kuala Lumpur Federal Tariq Islamic English Department Jawi Director Muhammad Najib Ismail said the action of some Muslims who participate in the recent illegal LGBT protests in the capital were in violation of the law, legislation, and culture of the Malaysian community. The government assures every citizen of freedom of speech but does not mean that anyone, especially Muslim, can do anything. The director told the Bernama yesterday that Jawi condemned the action of several Muslim men and women who participate in the recent LGBT protest is not the right they should be fighting for. He said he is commenting on LGBT illegal gatherings in connection with Women's Day. On Saturday, LGBT lifestyle practice were banned in the country as it is subject to Section 3778 of the Penal Code, which is contravention of state-level rules and the state-level Sharia criminal offences enactment.
We are moved to health gender issues in our country today. Recent statistics shows that LGBT are now the leading contributors to the spread of HIV and AIDS in the country. Malaysian Islamic Development Department JAKIM Officer Dr. Izwan Mat Yusof said the Kuala Lumpur Health Department shows that 65% of infections are caused by homosexual and bisexual. while 31% are infected through male sexual relation to women and vice versa. In 2012, that was high among drug addicts, but now in 2014, that has surpassed LGBT groups compared to declining drug users.
So ini statistik daripada Kementerian Kesihatan. Kita boleh tengok 2012, okey, kadar kita HIV di kalangan high risk group, FSW adalah female sex worker, maknanya MSN, men having sex with men, gay, dan PWID, people who inject drugs. Okey, tuan-tuan boleh tengok pada tahun 2012 yang tinggi itu di mana? Di kalangan penagih, betul? Tapi somehow nowadays pada tahun 2014 yang sudah rapidly increase among the MSN, maknya FSW, dan di kalangan people who inject drugs consistently decrease.
Up next, the gender inspection framework will be adopted all ministries and government agencies. Stay tuned.
Lebih segar
Dari boom boom pow, baru boom boom pow. Bau keringat, asap dan amis, bukan lawannya Downy. Formula baru Downy, baju segar terlindungi, super segar makin wangi Downy. Boom boom pow, boom boom pow. Baru boom boom pow, bau pergi boom boom boom, segarnya boom boom boom. Downy boom boom pow.
Ada yang lebih baik daripada Safi Sheila? Safi Sheila Baharul. Tanpa henti, setelah keyakinan dan lindungi rambutmu. Kini dengan arang gula, Safi Sheila Baharul dengan kebaikan habatus sauda untuk hijab fresh. Tanpa batasan, tanpa henti.
Welcome back. The second issue in this night is gender inequality, which acknowledge that men and women are not equal and that gender affect an individual life experience. These differences arise from distinctions in biology, psychology and culture norms. Some of these distinctions are empirically grounded, while others appear to be socially constructed.
Right, we move into outside news at China. Chinese law bans gender discrimination inherent and gender discriminatory content in advertising. The law lacks a clear definition of what constitutes gender discrimination and provides few effective enforcement in law, and Chinese authorities rarely proactively investigate companies that repeatedly violate relevant law.
Authorities rarely penalize companies for discriminatory job advertising, often only requiring them to change that advertising. Women's rights activities estimate that only a tiny percentage of the companies who have been investigated by the government to publishing discriminatory job advertising have been fined.
Some women in recent years have brought successful court challenge to gender discrimination in job advertising, but the compensation the company were ordered to pay was low, which is in about 2,000 yuan and $300. For many firms, such modest fines are unlikely to serve as a deterrent.
The Chinese government through media censorships and hostility toward grassroots activists pose a significant obstacle to Chinese women rights activists and civil society groups seeking to raise public awareness about the issues. Activists have pledged that they will continue to fight discriminatory job advertising, but in China, currently claiming they face increasing risk of reprisal for their activism. Furthermore news, Nolida Afendi, our reporter, have a report at Beijing, China.
It's not easy to be a working woman in China, and difficulties start early in one career. A 2016 report said women college students are 10% less likely to get employed than the other gender.
Anyone can be a good programmer, says Zhang Fang. All you need is a bit of logic, some conceptual thinking, and attentiveness. She also says that associating tech with men is bad stereotype. That partly explains why she's happy with the current job, because she's not the only woman in the group.
I was once warned before interview that if I got in, I would be the only woman there, and I should mentally prepare for it. Some of my friends were asked elsewhere whether they were sure they wanted the job and if their boyfriends were okay with it. I don't like it when people doubt or judge you just because you are a woman.
For their first job, women are generally 500 yuan, that's $72 was off every month, than men. The gap doesn't even out over time. For people in Chinese city, women often have to work 60 months to earn the men get in 12 months. To learn more about the news, we got researcher center behind the report.
To learn more about the disparity, we go to the research center behind the report.
Companies tend to worry about women giving birth and taking time off work. But bringing up the next generation is not just a woman's or her family's responsibility, it's for the whole society, and we should all chip in on this. We should have more institutional political help, and we should all change the old attitudes and promote equality.
For the woman job as programmer, bedroom to have freedom to try new things with her own champion can be judged by their own work, not their gender. I am Nolida Effendi, Beijing, China.
Gender equality advocates have voiced their desire for more women to be involved in the dispute resolution process to ensure fairness to all involved parties. The request came from representatives of government agency and civil society organizations held yesterday in event time to discuss the UN entity of gender equality and the empowerment of women and women project aimed to improve justice for lost women and establishing a law on violence against women.
A representative from the ASEAN Foundation told the meeting of case in laws in which a man who has been unfaithful in his marriage used violence against his wife after she insulted him. She said the village mediation unit, which was made up of 6 men and 1 woman, decided the wife should have kept her temper. The Minister of Justice Inspection Department Director General Bangfun Humane, who co-chaired the meeting, discussed another case in which a woman from a disadvantaged background came off worse in her divorce from her better educated husband.
We proceed about the solution to the gender issue. The first solution is start at government that make a specific law. The Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development is exploring the possibility of enacting specific law on discrimination against women. According to Minister Datuk Sri Rohani Abdul Karim, it was to ensure that Malaysia achieve gender equality like other developed countries. In this regard, the ministry effort is to ensure that no discrimination against women in the public sector or private sector, with specific law on discrimination against women to ensure that Malaysia achieve gender equality such as another country. For the record to provision of the law under the Federal Constitution have also touched on discrimination against women with aid of equality.
Second solution about this issue is with gender empowerment framework.
It's very important to have gender mainstreaming because these policies affects men, women, family. So all ministries must take a note of this, and actually we have this together with the KPWKM, our ministry, and UNDP, United Nations Development program, to implement, to evaluate our national action plan for women for the advancement of women. Dasar Wanita Negara.
She was found after launching a World Bank report titled Breaking the Barriers to Better Economic Opportunities for Women in Malaysia in Putrajaya this afternoon. She added value of macro empowerment framework that is ready on the march will suggest how gender goals and goals can be integrated into all planning and budget, in addition to the main role of data role on discrimination of sex. At the same time, the ministry is also drafting a bill banning all forms of discrimination against women, as well as a bill addressing issues of sexual harassment at and outside the workplace.
With the conclusion of new, gender issues in workplace are very harsh in contemporary society and are illogical. Studies show that women are now capable of doing a task as well as a male can, or in some cases even performing better than them. Also, researchers have shown a connection between increased performance of the business as a whole. Gender prejudice should not longer be continued, for it affects not only the female but the business as a whole pessimistically.
That's all from us. I am Kamara Hassan Bakri and
Fina Azami.
We end this news today with one video that published by the feminine hygiene brand, which is Always. It features a list of young people who are burned by society with their own views on gender issues. Thank you for joining us. Until we meet again, goodbye for now.
Have you ever been told because you're a girl that you should not do something?
Yes. All the time. All the time. It's a constant. People think that girls are supposed to be all happy and la-di-da, you know?
Be kind of traditional, like don't do something too challenging.
I can't really, like, rescue anybody. Like, it's always, like, the boys who rescue the girls in the stories.
Represent your limitation. So I'd like you to write on each one of the things that you said.
I started holding back and not trying things out as much, and just, it limited who I was.
I quit trumpet, I quit basketball, I quit wrestling.
I told myself that I should stop if I'm not good.
And did you quit?
For a week.
And then what happened?
I proved them wrong by trying harder to get better.
I tried to behave what other people want me to behave, and then I found that works horrible. So I said, okay, no more.
What do you want to do with that box?
I really want to break this box, or maybe explode it or something.
Kick him?
Go for it.
Are you serious?
I think that you need to keep going with whatever you love to do and do anything you want. You can conquer any fear you've had and just live your dream and do whatever you want to do. And that's why I love the word unstoppable.